Okay, rest can watch or do anything else, whatever you want, because eventually everyone will come here and do what these guys are doing. Okay, so first thing you want to do again is turn on the controller. So put it to on. Then turn on the spindle controller.
This one?
Yep. Now you can come here to computer. Okay, so turn on, open the Shopbot 3 software controller. Okay, once you do that, it's going to tell you that the stop button is on. So what you need to do is, no, first you have to reset it, then only you can did it. So close it again because it won't work.
No, but
Now turn on, open your software.
whether we have to reset by the software is on?
Yeah, so you have to reset it and then click OK.
Okay.
So reset it.
Hello?
Yeah. So you can hear that sound and then click OK. Now I usually like to check the communication if my software is controlling my Shopbot. So for that, click on this blue button, yellow button. Okay, now everyone, again, it's always a good idea to see if anyone is there and ask them to go away from it, and then you can just click on one of the button to see if it's communicating. Okay, so it is communicating. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to change the end mill. So why don't you bring it all the way here so that you can change it. So for that, just click on the button, not that. So what you want is you want to bring the head closer to this side, closer to our side. Okay, stop it. Now, I think it makes sense if there are only 3 people here, so it's more room. Again, everyone will come and do it. Now, you'll raise it a little bit, so increase Z height. We will use 2 wrenches which are here. Okay, so if you can try to touch it and feel it. There's one slot at top and the other slot is at bottom. Take out that thing.
Bigger one is on top, right?
This one is on top.
Okay, okay.
So this one is something that's going to hold it,
Okay.
and then you will unscrew it. So why don't one of you, I mean, I can give a quick demo. What I do is I use my thumb and index finger to feel that slot. So it's over here now, and then I use my right hand and simply slide it to that slot. Yeah, and then you can check that when you are moving it, this actually moves. Okay, and then this one will go and fit on the other slots. Okay, and then you just rotate it and the end mill will come out. So try to do it now. Feel the slot with your index finger and thumb. If you already know that which end mill you're going to use, so you can do it before even turning on Shopbot.
Only 2 types are there? Only 2 types are there?
2 types of what?
2 sizes of which?
No, we have plenty actually. If you see the bin over there, there's the blue boxes which has collet of different sizes, and then you have plastic boxes which has different sizes of end mill. Now depending upon your design, you will select different end mills. There are different end mills for different applications. Okay, so why don't I do it once and then I can show you, and then you can do it. So did you found that notch? Okay. Yeah, now see it. Now try to feel that. Okay, now take it out and now try this one.
They both come like this?
Yeah, it will, I think, and loosen.
emergency stop button stops whatever it is doing right now.
Yeah. It will just stop
Cuts the
everything.
power supply or?
It stops.
Okay.
I mean, the fan and all will be still running,
Okay.
but everything else is stopped.
Actually, how the board get to know about the thickness of the board? The thickness of the board.
Yeah, so that you will again use it in your software. When you will design the file, you will specify some thickness. And you,
Specify the thickness.
yeah. Okay, so one thing you have to notice is every end mill has corresponding collet, and it just slides in. There's no loose space. If you don't use a proper collet, then there's a problem because this will never fit. Okay.
So,
So
it
again,
doesn't fit, it means that it's not the right one.
yeah, the way I do it is if you know the size of your end mill and then if you know the size of this, then it's
Okay.
compatible. Or if you don't know the size, you can measure with the gauge, or you can just try to slide in and feel it. Okay, so now you can put it back. So assuming that you just take it out, this is your end mill, this is your thing, press it, this will go inside it. So again, first thing you do it, you just hand tight it inside it, and then you can use then this can go all the way in, and you can use the 2 wrenches to tighten it. Okay, so
We have to hold on to it like this and tight it.
no,
Then
so what I do is, because if you hold it like this is going to come.
that's the question. Like, won't it come? and
No,
fall?
so what I do is first I hand tight it. I can give you a demo. So I'll just take this, I'll hold the top part with my fingers, so just hand tight it.
Okay.
Now this is hand tight, so I'll just lose it a little bit, then take my end mill and insert it. Now once that is there, then I'm going to just hold it with one of the finger and then hand tight it. So this will make sure that my end mill is now sticking, and then I can use the 2 wrenches to actually tight it properly. So again, to tight it, you just use this and find out the slot. So this is now sticking. Then you can use the other wrench. Try to put it in the slot. Now once there, you can just do it opposite direction. And this is tight. This is, you lose it and it comes out. Okay, so now why don't one of you try it? Why don't you try? So the software part, I will make a small video, because all it takes is one software that can take your screen and record it, and I'll make a video and then I'll share with you, so that we can save time for more hands-on training here, and the software training you can just download the YouTube video and do it on yourself.
You're saying that CAD also works and other software also works depending on the type of file that you export it to. That's
Yeah.
required for Shopbot.
Yeah.
So then you said like use a common software for all of it. So which
No.
would be like the best software that will be compatible with all of these?
Uh,
like our maker and this. And
Yeah,
CAD.
so the fab modules, so again the problem when we had all the machine was that every machine needs a different software, so there's a learning curve to learn all the software.
Okay.
Again, click on the reset button. So the way I usually to use whenever you are putting this plywood, because you can get some scratches. So just use the gloves to handle plywood.
ഇത് സെറ്റാണോ? ഓക്കെ.
You're gonna go and open this software. Yeah, that put it back. And the other wrench you can put in, you can keep in one of the bin. Okay, perfect. Again, click on the reset button and then click OK. To check communication, you can again go back here. Reset. Okay. Okay, so assuming you're gonna bring this thing, say, here, and you want to start it. So first bring your head on top of this location. So the way I usually do is, I know that this is my X and Y, so that way it becomes easy. Okay, now you can bring a Z a little bit down. Yeah, stop it. So this is, for example, you want to consider as your origin. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the 0 axis button, then check X and Y, don't check Z, then 0 it. Okay, now that will 0 your X and Y. The next step is to 0 Z. So for that, first close this window, keypad window. Yeah, first close it. Okay, now in the command console window, go to cuts. So this is your command console window. Go to cuts and then click on C2, 0 Z axis, 0 plate. Now this will guide you with all the process. Okay, don't click that. So first thing it's saying you is hit enter when above the plate and ready to 0. What it's saying is the head should be above this plate. So for that you're going to just take this out. This will go here. So you can see there are multiple slots in your collet. So you can just keep it like this. Again, this is way down. I want it to be above it. So why don't I just take this out, put it back. You can cancel that because it's way too low for zeroing it.
Is there any connection between this and?
Yeah, that's why it does it. So again, click on 0 button, sorry, that yellow button, and bring it up. Yeah, because it was too low for the plate to be there. Now close that again, and in command, go to cuts and then C2. Yeah. So now we're gonna put it back like this. And what I usually do is, so if you touch it, you should see one of the input 1 button blinking. So in the red window, there is an input panel, and that you can see the 1 button. So it's a good idea to first check it, because if it's not working and you try to do it, it's going to go all the way in. Okay, so you just put it below it, and then you can click on the OK button. And you want to keep it as flat as possible. Then it will ask for resume. So it's going to go up and try again. I mean, it's not going to try, it's just going to make it more accurate in next attempt. Okay, so why don't we try again? I need to see computer. Okay, so why don't we try, just click on OK and go back to the keypad, increase the height. Okay, now close that. Again, let's test it if the Z is working. Let's try again. Okay. Okay, so now it's zeroed. Make sure that you take out, put it back.
It will consider the width of the
plate. Yeah. So what it will do is it knows the height, because and then it's gonna back calculate the actual Z. Put it back and then just click OK. So again, to summarize, first make your design file, there is a different tutorial which I'll make for the design file, toolpath file. Mount your plywood, do x0, y0, z0, then click on the cut button, that cut part button, this button, and then you're gonna browse to the toolpath file. We have it in desktop. Go to all files, and the file we are using is this one, store tool Trivandrum. Okay, and the next thing you're going to do is, again, before starting you have to make sure that you turn the blower on. So I'm going to go to the blower. So eventually what will happen is this will fill up, and all you need to do is just take it out, throw it, and then put it back. There is a power switch here. This will be powered by there, so first you have to turn on that switch, and once that is done you can simply turn on this switch. Okay. Again, make sure that everyone is off the table, everyone is wearing safety glasses, and then just click on the start button. Then it will pop up this window which says click on the green start button. First click on the green start button, then only click OK. So press the start 0. Yeah. So that will turn on the spindle. Then click OK. And in case of emergency, always be ready to press this button. Okay. So once you are done, it will automatically turn off. We are not going to do the entire file. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to click on the stop button.
Or you can press the right one also.
This will turn off everything. You don't want to turn off everything, so you can just click.
Alright. When we stop like this, does it remember where it stopped last time?
It does know the x and y 0 position, the x0, y0 position. It's not going to know the previous position. One way to do it is just write down this location, and then you can resume it. Okay, so once this is done, then again I'm going to go back to my previous blower. Turn this off, use the vacuum pump, take out the extra dust. You can take out your part and then assemble it. Any doubts?
When we are doing any manual cutting, whether we can make the Z position, set the Z position.
What do you mean by manual cutting?
If there is no, you told like we can cut in manual also.
No, I never said manual cutting.
We can draw shapes in using the key.
Yeah, so what you need to do is, if you want to make, say, write a word, say Fablab, or you want to cut any shape, first you have to design it.
Okay, without design, it
Yeah. I mean, technically you can turn on the spindle and jog it around. I won't recommend it. I mean, it will take extra half an hour to design it, but once you design it, the design file is with you and you can do the multiple trial with the same design file. Okay, so you guys are done. Why don't you guys go and ask the three people to come. What's the first thing you should do before using Shopbot? Safety. What's the second thing you should do?
To turn it on and off.
No, before that.
Turn on computer and set.
Before that.
Make sure the thing is set.
Board is fixed.
Board is
Clean
fixed.
the-
Yeah,
clean the-
board is fixed. So when you will come, this board won't be there, right? So you will take out the board, this plywood, you will put it here, you will drill hole, and then you will tighten the screws. So that will hold your board. The next thing you need is design file. So there's another tutorial, will be video tutorial, which I'll make for making the design file. The toolpath file. Once you have the toolpath file, then you can come to Shopbot and simply run it. The toolpath file you can do in your own computer with your own comfort.
What's
Okay.
the output format for that file?
So that will be SBP. I think it's the .sbp file. So there's two softwares here. One software is vCarve Pro. So this vCarve Pro software you can use to convert your design file into a toolpath, and the file that the Shopbot controller software can take. So I'll just open my design file in it, find out which end mill I'm going to use, and how the tool pathing will be. Again, there's a different tutorial for that because it's just learning software, so I'm not covering it here now. And then you can save the file, and once you save the file, the format will be .sbp. Okay, and then the Shopbot control software, which is basically going to just use this file and send it to the Shopbot controller, and then the Shopbot controller going to run it. Okay, so once you will come, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn on the power supply. So why don't one of you turn on the power supply? Okay. The second thing is you need to turn on the spindle. Okay. Now open the Shopbot 3 software, which is the Shopbot control software. So why don't you just open it? So if there was a problem in the connection, then there will be a window which will pop up and it will show there is a problem in the connection. But there is no problem in the connection, so we can go ahead. Now there is the window called stop button is on. So what it tells you is that you have to reset the driver. To reset the driver, you have to press blue button. So press blue button and then click OK. If you first click OK, then it won't work. Okay. Now you have turned on your Shopbot, you have your control software. The next step is to see if the communication is working or not. Okay, so for that what you're going to do is you're going to click on this yellow button. So click on the yellow button. Okay, and then just click. Okay, so why don't we flip position and then you can start doing next things. Okay, so you can try and see if it's controlling. Again, it's always a good idea to, before moving it, make sure that everyone is off Shopbot. Okay, so what this tells me is that my software is controlling my Shopbot. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to zero axis. So we're going to zero X, Y and Z. First we're going to do is zero X and Y. So for example, in this board, part of this plywood is used, part of that plywood used. For example, I want to cut my stuff here, so I'm just going to zero here, and you have to make sure in your design file that the size is less than this, otherwise it won't cut all the way. So why don't you bring it on top of this location with just using the arrows. No, press and hold. Yeah, that's enough. So now just click on the zero axis button. Check mark X axis, Y axis. The next step is to zero Z. So sometime what happens is the mill bit is just too down. So you can just use the up and down arrow to increase or decrease the Z height. So I can just go here, increase the Z height. Now once that is done, make sure that you close this window. If you don't close this window, then the software will crash. So I'm going to go ahead, close this window, and so this is the command console. In here you go to the cuts menu and then click on 0 Z axis, 0 Z plate. So this is for zeroing Z axis. Now the software is going to guide you with the entire process. So the first window is hit enter when above plate and ready to zero. So what it's telling you is I have a zero plate and my head should be on top of it. So for that you just take this, slide it out. You have one clip. That clip will connect to your spindle. So there's a slot in the spindle. You just cut it and put your like this. Okay, so again I'm gonna ask you to repeat the process. Yep. Yeah, a little more. So it's intimate. Yeah, so now it's intimate. Now you have to make sure that it's perfectly flat. What I usually like to do is hold it like this. So it's flat. So hold it with both of your hand. The next thing is, once that is done, you can simply click OK. So I'm going to click OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring the spindle head until it touches this plate, and then you're going to go up and do the same thing again to do more precise calculation. Now once that is done, I'll have a window which says zeroed. Remember to remove alligator clip and put away plate. So you're going to remove the alligator clip, the plate, put it back there. Yeah. Now once that is done, just simply click OK. Okay, so you started, you have all your safety gears, then you mounted your plywood, you did 0, X and Y 0, then you did Z 0. The next step is to just cut parts. So click on the cut part button. You can, again, the file formatted .sbp. How are you going to generate it? Yeah. And there's a different tutorial for that. I'm just going to click all files, go here, browse it, and then just start it. Okay, so why don't one of you start? Before starting, again, make sure that everyone is off Shopbot. You know where the safety emergency stop button is, so just click start. So what it's saying is that you have to click on the start button and then click OK. Press this button. No, not that. And then click OK. For this purpose, we are not going to wait until the entire thing is cut. So you can simply click on the stop button. Now once the thing is running there, the computer won't let me do anything. If I try to do it, the cursor will just stuck there. Okay, simply click on the stop button. Yeah. So it will take some time to stop. Spindle stop, then you can click on the quit button. Okay, once that is done, then you can turn off the blower. Then one of you will use a vacuum pump. Turn this on and simply okay, so once you have cleaned everything, next step is to close the software. Then come here, first turn the spindle key and then turn off this. Yeah. So it has two positions, one is the on position, the other is the off position. So when you turn it off, you move it to off position. When you turn it on, you move it to on position. Okay. Yeah, so all of that, remember I told you there is two steps to this. One is the VCarve Pro and the other is actually running it. So all the cut depth and different end mill and everything will be decided in VCarve Pro.
So we need like a part of things to be in depth also.
Yeah, so that depth and every step, so if you remember it actually cuts it and then it goes a little deep and then cuts it and then it goes a little deep and then cuts it. So all that will be decided in your software when you will actually do the design file.
I guess we will get the tutorials from the Fab Academy, right? For
Yeah,
VCarve
yeah.
Pro and
So you can either, so VCarve Pro also has a very good user manual. So you can go through that also. I'll make a very small video for that, but that will be after we finish all these trainings. Okay, perfect. Again, you have to make sure that it's properly aligned. Otherwise you will clamp it and then you will realize later on that it wasn't perfectly aligned. So once you align it, then the first thing is, for example, if you are doing it here, then first drill it. Now the drilling will be until your plywood. Once that drilling part is done, then you can use the screw and go all the way in. Now this size of the screw should be so that it's not more than the total thickness, otherwise it's going to hit one of the aluminum. If it's more than the thickness, then you have to make sure that you are off the aluminum base, otherwise it's just going to hit it. So I just do it. I'm just gonna give a quick demo to this. And when you do it, it's kind of, you can feel it when it's going from one plywood to other plywood, and you can use that as a guideline and stop when required. So that is the hole I have created. Then I can introduce this and then just tighten it. Okay, so you can tight all screws. One thing is, if you know that you're going to only cut that part of the plywood, then you don't have to cut screw all the way. You can just screw those part only. Once that is done, and depending upon your design file, you're going to change the end mill. So right now it's in the perfect position. If it's not in the perfect position, then we can bring it to the perfect position. So for that, first power on the controller. So first you're going to open Shopbot 3, which is the Shopbot control software. So you can open it. There are 3 different windows. So this is the spindle control window, which will tell you what's the RPM. This is the command console, where you can give the commands, basically where the G code goes and sends the command to Shopbot. And this is for positioning the spindle. Now what it says is that you have to first press the blue reset button and then click OK. So I'm just going to press reset button and then click OK. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the communication between my control software and Shopbot. So for that, you're going to click on this yellow button. Simply click on that. So that will open one of this window, which is to actually move and jog down your spindle head. You can use the arrow button and you can see that the spindle is moving. So what it tells you is your software is communicating with your Shopbot controller. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to move to a location where I want the X and Y to be 0, and then do the 0 axis. So I can, for example, just move it there a little bit, and yeah. For example, I want to start cutting from that location, and you can also increase the Z and decrease the Z by clicking these arrows. I usually like to have some distance between my base and my spindle Z height. And once that is done, you can click on 0 axis, check X axis, Y axis, and do 0. So once I do 0, you can see that this number will change to 0. So that is now 0. Other way to move it is I can put numbers here and then move it. Once that is done, once you are finished with X and Y 0, then we're going to do the Z 0. For that, you have to first click on cuts and 0 axis. Then you have to bring the plate down. And once you bring the plate down, then it will pop up another window and then you can click OK. So why don't we bring the plate down now? Let's start from the beginning so that you guys can do it and I will just be there. So I'm just going to close it. Okay, so now one of you can come and start doing it. Click on the yellow button. Now click on arrows to see if the communication is working. So for moving, you have to press and hold. So what this tells me is communication is working. The next thing is you want to find out where you want to cut in your board. So this location is used, say this location is used. I want to cut in this location. Then I'm going to use my origin as somewhere here. For example, you can move somewhere there. Yeah, so if you think that this is where my origin is going to be, then you can click on the zeros axis button, check on X axis, Y axis, and then simply 0 it. So that is going to change this number to 0, 0. So that X and Y is done. The next step is to do Z0. So for that, first close this window, go to cuts and then C2, 0 Z axis with 0 Z0 plate. Click on that. Okay, now the software is going to guide you with everything. So what it's saying is hit enter when of the plate and ready to 0. So for that, I think you can start doing this part. So take it out, use the alligator clip and attach it to the spindle. So the spindle thing is already has some slots in it, so you can just attach it, and it's making a contact. The next thing I do is I check if the thing is actually working. So you can try to touch it, and when you touch it, bring it down. Yeah. So what happened is it's actually not making the contact, the electric contact. That's why it was keep on going it. So there is some problem. So that's why I click stop, and then I'm gonna try again. So I'm gonna quit it. I will go back to my Z, increase the height, reset driver. Okay, so let's try again. I'm going to close it. Yeah, so usually when you touch it, one of this input button, the input number 1 should blink. It's not blinking right now, so what I would do is I'll close my software, I'll close everything and then start again. So let's do that. Okay, so turn on both thing again. And the key, here you can turn on software. Click on the blue reset button, yes. Click OK, yellow button. Let's try to move it a little bit. Okay, so that part is working. You can zero it X and Y. X, Y, 0. Okay, once that is done, you can close it. This cuts C2. Okay, now let's check it again if it works. And then I can again try to touch it. It's coming, right? Okay, so that means that the communication is working now. So I'm just going to hold it like this and then you can click on the OK button. So that will finish the 0Z. Okay, so you can click OK. Okay, yeah. So Vinod, do you want to try zeroing it? Yeah, I think USB connection was loose. So for that, I think we know that makes more sense. So what is happening is every time someone goes here, so the best thing will be to either move it here or you can get one of those USB male to female cables, and then this hub can be attached somewhere there. So that will minimize that chances. Okay. Now you can try to touch it with the plate, and you can see that the one is coming here, input 1. So make sure that the communication is going on. Then I can just click OK here, and I usually use the both hand. Okay, so that is finished with the 0. You can take out the alligator clip. It's very important to take out the clip, otherwise the spindle will start rotating and it will create a huge mess. Now click OK. Now once that is done, you are ready for cutting it, but before that you have to make sure that everyone is off the table and everybody is wearing safety glasses. So Daniel, I think you can go just little bit back for your own safety. Yeah, now that is fine. So go to cut parts. So you are in desktop. I will just go all files, go all the way down. I think this one, yeah, and then open it. You keep it like this. If you press the start button, it will start milling. If there is an emergency, you can just click on this button. Okay, so you can do start. Before start, can someone turn on the? Yeah, you can just click on the. So now this will tell you that you have to start the spindle. So green button and then click OK. Okay, so when that thing is running, the computer won't let you do anything. So if I try to do it, the mouse is just stuck there. And that's a safety feature. So you can just simply stop it. So for now we can just stop it. So you can click on the stop button. Click quit. You can turn off that. Yeah, so before that, as a courtesy to next user, you want to bring it to the corner. So again, you can use the jog key and then bring it to the corner.